Key 16. The Tower. Pe, transliterated as P, PH, or F, value 80, and as a final letter, 800, means the mouth as the organ of speech. It therefore symbolizes power of utterance. Out of it are the issues of life. North, the direction assigned to Pe, is the place of darkness, of the unknown, of the sun's annual death. On the cube of space, as ordinarily shown in diagrams, it is the side on the observer's left. Mars, the planet attributed to Pe, rules Aries, key 4, the Emperor, and it also rules Scorpio, key 13, death. And it is exalted in Capricorn, key 15, the devil. According to astrologers, the Mars vibration is scientific and is active in sight. It is the force which finds expression in reproduction, and it gives tenacity to the muscles, being thus the basis of all human activity. In its psychological manifestations, it is the destructive, iconoclastic force which tears down the structures of ancient custom and tradition. Its color is scarlet, and the corresponding musical tone is C natural. Grace and sin, or beauty and ugliness, are the pair of opposites attributed by Kabbalists to the letter Pe, because the issues of life, directed by human speech, result in one or the other. Sin, or missing the mark, results in maladjustment and ugliness. Hitting the mark in right action results in the manifestation of beauty. Active or exciting intelligence is the mode of consciousness attributed to Pe. It stirs up activity, sets things going, produces changes, affects transformations. Note, in this connection, that in Key 1, the magician wears a red outer garment. The Tower is one of several titles, among them being the lightning-struck tower, the fire of heaven, and the house of God. It refers traditionally to the Tower of Babel, at which human speech was confounded. When this key is called La Maison de Dieu, or the House of God, the title indicates the exoteric structure of religious belief. Note that the number of this key, 16, digits to 7, the number of the chariot, which refers to speech. The lightning is a masculine symbol. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, quote, "Among weapons, I am the thunderbolt." End quote. It is interesting to note that when lightning flashes, artificially produced, were photographed at the Westinghouse laboratories, they were shown to be spirals rather than zigzags. This fact may have been known to the ancients, for the Chaldean oracles of Zoroaster speak of the Supreme Spirit as the god who energizes a spiral force. In olden times, lightning was an emblem of fecundation and nutrition, as we learn from Plutarch, who says, quote, "The agriculturalists call the lightning the fertilizer of the waters, and so regard it." End quote. The lightning flash is the power drawn from above by the magician. It is the sword of the charioteer, the scepter of the emperor, the force which turns the wheel of fortune, the scythe of death, and the light streaming from the hermit's lantern. It breaks down existing forms in order to make room for new ones. For Kabbalists, the lightning flash is a symbol of the tenfold emanation of the life power. In the BOTA version of Key 16, therefore, the thunderbolt is so drawn that it corresponds to the familiar Kabbalistic diagram of the Tree of Life. Concerning this, the Book of Formation says, quote, 10 ineffable Sephiroth numerations. Their appearance is like that of a flash of lightning. Their goal is infinite. End quote. In terms of consciousness, the lightning flash symbolizes a sudden, momentary glimpse of truth, a flash of inspiration which breaks down structures of ignorance and false reasoning. The tower has the same basic meaning as the garden of the magician, the throne of the emperor, the turning wheel, the field in Key 13. It is subconsciousness, considered as the root substance which takes form, first as mental images, and ultimately as physical things. From moment to moment, throughout all time, it is being transformed. It is the Prakriti of the Hindus, concerning which it is written, quote, "True knowledge makes Prakriti disappear, first as containing Purusha, the I Am, and then as separate from Purusha." End quote. The falling figures correspond to the chained prisoners in the preceding picture. They fall head first, because the sudden influx of spiritual consciousness represented by the lightning flash completely upsets all our old notions about the relations between subconsciousness and self-consciousness. These figures are clothed, and the man wears both red and blue to show a mixture of self-conscious and subconscious activities. Similarly, the woman is shod with red but wears a blue robe. The woman, furthermore, is crowned. In false knowledge, subconscious motives are permitted to dominate the personality. Thus, people excuse themselves for unintelligent action by saying, "I can't help it. That's the way I feel." This domination of personality by emotion and by telepathic invasion through subconsciousness is overcome by right knowledge. So is the concealment and division between self-consciousness and subconsciousness, here indicated by the fact that the falling figures are fully clothed. The crown knocked from the tower by the lightning flash is the materialistic notion that matter and form are the ruling principles of existence. Since crown is a Kabbalistic term relating to the number 1 and to will, this crown refers to the false monism of the materialist and to the false interpretation of will, which makes it something personal, something which may be set against the impulse originating in the cosmic purpose. The tower has 22 courses of masonry and is built of brick. In Hebrew, the word for moon and the word for brick is spelt with precisely the same letters, Lamed, Beth, Nun, He, Lebanah, because the white Babylonian bricks resemble moonlight. Bricks are made of clay, and clay is the symbol of Adam. Thus the tower suggests a structure of human speech, because its 22 courses correspond to the number of letters in the Hebrew alphabet. It is reared on a lonely peak and suggests the fallacy of personal isolation, which is the basis of all false philosophy. By contrast with the 22 courses of masonry, 22 Hebrew yods are shown, hanging in the air on either side of the building. These represent the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and the forces corresponding thereto. 10 on one side of the tower are arranged in the form of the Tree of Life. They also represent the elementary and planetary letters. The 12 on the other side represent the 12 zodiacal letters. They hang in the air to indicate that the forces they symbolize rest on no physical foundation. This picture corresponds to the second stage of spiritual unfoldment, wherein a series of sudden, fitful inspirations lead to the perception that the structure of knowledge built on the foundation of the fallacy of personal separateness is a tower of false science. At this stage, the advancing seeker for wisdom suffers the destruction of his whole former philosophy, for this tower is built upon a foundation of misapprehension. The whole structure is an elaboration of superficial observation, traditional race thought, false reasoning, and an erroneous theory of will.